I saw the movie, yes.
Guess who's my son?
Oh, the character I like the most, or the second slaver?
Yeah.
He's so good.
Isn't he great?
Oh my God, he stole a movie. Why'd you let him do that? Hey everybody, this is Mike, and you're watching Real Black Today. Wow. Years. I've been familiar with Kasi Lemmons' work since I was in film school. We're talking pre-Eve's Bayou, and we've never met until today, and we get a chance to share that with you on Real Black TV because she is the director of the new movie, Harriet, which has come to theaters now.
There's not much time. You got to be miles away from here before dawn. Where is she? Follow that North Star. If there are no stars, just follow the river. Listen for them. Fear is your enemy. Whoa, easy now.
I'm gonna be free or die.
Wow, great movie.
Thank you.
Congratulations. I've watched a lot of interviews. You talk about how difficult it was to get this film made.
Yeah.
I'm curious, where were you when you found out that you got the job?
I was in my bedroom, and a long time had passed since I had had my first meeting with the producers, and I got an email. It was an email from Deborah Martin Chase saying, we'd like to invite you onto the project to write and direct, and that was super exciting, and I screamed for my husband, Bondi, yeah, I got the Harriet movie.
Okay, and then the second question, what part do you have in it for me?
For you.
No, for Bondi.
No, had I begun to talk to him? No, I talked to him afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah, I talked to him afterwards once I was done with the research and everything like that, once I was deep into the research. So it was probably about 6 months later.
Okay.
When I probably had a first draft of a script.
Oh, so you don't automatically get the part if you're married to the writer-director?
Well, he's one of my favorite actors.
Okay.
But no, I usually give him a script once I'm kind of, got it in a pretty good place, and I say, so do you see anything in here that you relate to?
Okay, that's legit. That's fair.
It's legit. It's always legit.
So but what, I used to be on the radio, and you got a slavery movie and a biopic. That's a lot of weight on anyone's shoulders to get right.
I never thought of it as a slavery movie. I really didn't.
Talk to me.
I think it's a freedom movie.
Okay.
I think if you ask any kid, anyone, tell me the Harriet Tubman story, they're going to say she escaped from slavery. Mm-hmm. She went back to liberate others.
Yeah, well, that's the big difference. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's why we had to wait so long to get one. Now, Cicely Tyson's played Harriet Tubman, Ruby Dee's played her, and now Cynthia Erivo. I mean, what was it like working with her and some of the adventures? Yeah,
I mean, it was great. First of all, she's so physically right for the part, and she's a singer. She's... By the time I met her, I had done a lot of research, and I felt like I could see who Harriet was. And then I met Cynthia, and there was so much about her that was so right for it. But she prepared herself in every way you could possibly prepare for the role. She had physically trained for it, but she had just prepared in every way, including spiritually, to play Harriet, which we had discussed. I mean, we had kind of worked on it together, and really talked about looking at her face and trying to bring her and looking into her eyes and feeling her soul and what's her voice sound like. But it was wonderful because I got so close to Harriet in doing the research. And then with Cynthia, it's like I was able to be with her all the time.
Wow.
And I could be with both Cynthia and Harriet, you know what I mean? But mostly Harriet. For a long time, when I would see Cynthia without the scar on her forehead, I didn't know it would throw me.
Don't you tell me what I can't do. I made it this far on my own. God was watching, but my feet was my own. Running, bleeding, climbing, nearly drowned, nothing to eat for days and days, man. I made it. So don't you tell me what I can't do.
You got to see this movie in theaters and experience it. And when I saw it, there were a lot of kids there, a lot of young people, and I think it's a great way to introduce people to this while we wait for the $20 bill. But in terms of the spiritual nature, it seems like you're the perfect person to make this film because your whole body of work aligns with that. Can you talk about your primary influences to weave that into narrative film the way that you do?
Part of it's very natural to me, but it's the Harriet Tubman story. I didn't realize that. Even when I said I was interested, I didn't realize that was really what it was until I started diving into the research, that it was our Joan of Arc story, I didn't really realize that until I dug in, but of course, that's, I love that kind of stuff. I relate to it, and I related to her, and how strongly she felt that presence in her life.
Yeah, she relies a lot on intuition in lieu of being able to speak the King's English or even having a compass. Intuition. How did intuition help guide this story for you in terms of making it?
Well, I focused on Harriet, and so I knew that if I focused on her and just kept her kind of as my North Star, that I would be okay. Like if I just followed Harriet. So I would have conversations with her, and she was my instinct in a lot of ways.
Well, is she in here now? Will you stop?
She's always here. But I've got to say she was most present for me when I was working on the movie, where I felt her all the time.
The conduit.
Yeah, and Cynthia being, of course, there to channel her.
Well, I know some magical things happen on the set then, if
Yeah.
that's the case.
Yeah.
Can you share one or two?
Well, one of my favorite ones is a day that we came to work and it was raining and I had planned a very careful scene that had to be beautiful. And it was the ugliest day you've ever seen, and everybody was in a foul mood, and Cynthia had 4 costume changes, and she was cranky, and hair and makeup was cranky, and my line producer and my first AD were cranky, and none of us thought we were going to get this very important scene. It was our last day at this location, and the crew, I don't know, normally we were very in sync, and this day we weren't. But I forced everybody to go to the top of a muddy hill and forced Cynthia through hair and makeup. And when she got to the top of the hill was the moment the crane had been built. And at that moment, the sun broke through the clouds. And there's this amazing sunset. And in one take, Harriet walked into freedom. And there was a double rainbow behind us, and everybody burst into tears, and it was really one of the great moments. It was just a great moment.
You had John Toll on board.
John
right?
Toll.
Oh my God,
John Toll giggled. He's great.
He's shot a lot of great stories for us.
Yeah.
So, in terms of relating it to, well, let's see, a couple things before we get to the wrap. A couple key lines. One's in the trailer, and one's not in the film at all, where she says, "We can't wait for war to make these things happen." And then the other one, everybody's tributes to Harriet Tubman, which I guess maybe she didn't really say, is like, I could have freed a lot more souls.
She didn't say that.
Yeah, what's that about?
That quote surfaced around 2003.
Okay.
Yeah, she didn't say it. I can tell you what she said and didn't say.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
if I didn't put it in the movie, she probably didn't say it.
I'm sure, yeah. But I mean, I think the movie speaks to me watching it in 2019 going into 2020. Because we're still seeking that liberation, that freedom. It's slavery was not just a physical thing, but it was a mental thing. So.
Well, it left an enormous stain on the country. But when you think about how long people were enslaved in this country, and then the Civil War, where 600,000 people died. I mean, it was a huge event, and for us to be like, oh, kind of, we're past it, and we're all fine now. That's like that's the myth.
Right. Well, what I wanted to just congratulate you on is just the perseverance that you have in bringing these stories. Congratulate you on having Eve's Bayou accepted into the National Registry.
Thank you.
And I think a lot of us are conditioned just to not believe things until we see it. So I just think you did a marvelous job giving us the tangible quotient of what Harriet Tubman's heroic story was. And I just hope people connect with it the way that I did.
Thank you.
And go beyond what a lot of films where they want to put it in the back seat now that the movie exists. So what do you hope people get from this experience that you've created for us?
Well, I hope that they begin to find that piece of her in themselves, because I think we all have it. And by bringing this small black woman who's our superhero and allowing us to access that, we can look at ourselves and say, okay, am I brave enough? Do I have that kind of force of will? Do I have that kind of courage? You know, maybe I should, because I got to tell you, it's going to take a lot of courage and a lot of fight, frankly, to begin to address the problems that we're facing right now.
When trouble comes, you'll be ready. Try. Yeah. You'll be ready. Ready?